Hey guys, thanks for coming out for the Core 4 of Success. This is really an overview of the Impact Income Coaching Club. We're going to give you the four elements that hopefully you've already got in your business. If not, we would love to be able to supply those. That's really what this time is about. We're not going to be on here just super long today. It's not going to be a long-winded 90-minute kind of thing. Most of you already know who we are, so we're not doing any introductions other than on this screen that you see. On the left-hand side, that's myself. That is Paul Evans. And on the right-hand side is Paul Counts, who you heard from just a minute ago if you were already on. Well, Paul is broadcasting live from the hospital visiting his grandfather there. One of the I hate to even say advantages that we have when we're doing online business is when there's emergencies like this, or we've got family that's out, we are able to take that time and go and be there without having to ask off work or get permission from anybody. And even the tough challenges of life, often when it comes to online business, lifestyle business, it's usually showing the side of, hey, you get to do what you want when you want. And we forget about the blessing it is to be able to have the freedom when there's a challenge or when somebody's in the hospital to go and visit them and spend time with them. Isn't that right, Paul?
It is exactly right. It's one of the big reasons I love this business. And, I was able to just pick up my things yesterday and come down here and visit him, and I can still run the business and nothing changes. So it's fantastic, and it is a blessing to be able to do that.
Man, I appreciate you doing that too. I appreciate your family focus. And even as in Impact Income, guys, our slogan or our theme is that we want to make more so that we can give more so we can live more. One of the things we want to encourage you on is to forget about buying ebooks and courses and software and all the latest gimmicks. That seems to be a constant. And Paul Counts and I were kind of raised up through the system of all the latest things that were out there that gave all of these promises. And what we're going to share with you in just a few minutes are really four core elements that if you've got those four, you've really got it made as much as possible without having to chase the latest thing, pursue the latest thing, and hope that somehow you're going to finally find the answer.
Yeah, and I know many of you, if you ever bought a product hoping to make money with it only to be disappointed, and I know for a lot of people that's a reality because I see it all the time. And one of the things that I've really just been able to see with my students in the past is sometimes it's not just a product, but they need a little bit of guidance as far as how to go through that product properly. They need a little encouragement to get through that. And the products, they oftentimes lead you to disappointment. They're not going to give you everything. A lot of times they're leaving out important details. So
Yeah, that's true because sometimes we try to learn from a so-called guru or expert and you find out that you're not being given the full story. And that's exactly what Paul's talking about. I'm laughing even as I'm saying Paul, being that my name as well.
yeah.
So, when we're thinking about that, you notice that so many times what you're being sold is not the full story. It's not exactly what they do. They've simply packaged up something that sounds good and it even looks good, but it doesn't really work because they're not sharing exactly what they're doing. And one of the things that we do in Impact Income Coaching Club is that we're going to be sharing exactly what it is that we do day in and day out. Now, I've got to warn you, it's not hyper complicated. It's not overwhelming. It's not busy work. It's just very simple processes and methods that work day in and day out without having to chase the next thing over and over again. So that makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I know for many of you, you've researched how to make money online only to discover hundreds of conflicting strategies and methods. And so it gets so confusing. And so that's one of the core focuses of the Impact Income Coaching Club is to help you really decipher what's going to work best for you. We talk about, success based on you, and that's so accurate because I'll tell you, I go to a big conference, let's say at ClickBank. Paul Evans and I, that picture you saw, he and I were at the ClickBank Platinum event recently, and we're sitting there with all the other high-level people from ClickBank as well, the sellers. And when you talk to them, some people, they're all Facebook ads. Some people, they're all banner advertisements. Other people, they're killing it with Bing advertisements. advertisements. And then you'll talk to somebody else, they're doing a fantastic job with SEO. And then you've got people like ourselves and then other people I talk to that are just killing it with joint venture partners. And it's not saying one of those methods is better than the other. They're all working. We all were at the same event. We're all making the same amount of revenue. But the fact is, each one of us got there a different way. So we're here to help you kind of cut through all the methods and help you simplify to see what works best for you.
Yeah, and I think that we've all spent a lot of time learning from various ebooks, from blogs, from videos, and then sometimes you just feel like you're going to explode with information overload. That's another thing that Paul and I have looked at our businesses, and what we have found works best is when we pulled back and did the minimum instead of trying to do everything. And so one of the things that we want to focus on with you guys is not to overload you with information, but instead, just like Paul said, to find the thing that's going to work best for you, that you really feel connected with. In fact, I was working with a coaching client earlier today who's really struggling with direction and said, you know, I'm working on this thing and I'm not really excited about it, but here's what I really want to do. And I was like, well, why don't you do that? Instead of following a rote program and a rote method just because somebody else said that you ought to do that, why not design and fulfill that thing within yourself that you know? You know, you can read all the blogs you want and all the ebooks you want and watch all the videos you want, but if it doesn't connect with who you are, it's not going to be able to fully be released. You're not going to be fully passionate about it, and you're not going to keep doing the work that you know you really need to do.
Yeah, and I know for many of you, you followed a system or program, but have seen little or no results. And, you know, I know one of the big reasons for that is a lack of a coach, a lack of somebody, a mentor that you can bounce ideas off, you know, the lack of somebody, a peer in the business that you can ask questions when you get stuck. Because let's be honest, many of the programs that are being sold out there, they're not as step-by-step as we would hope. And sometimes we just need a little bit of clarity or a little bit of encouragement to keep going in that right direction. And oftentimes what I've seen over the years is people are right on the cusp of success and then they give up because they don't have that encouragement to keep going, and you're so close to getting the results you want, and then so many people are just you know, they back out of the program because it didn't work, but they were right there and they don't even realize it. And so that's where, you know, having a coach and a mentor can really help you succeed.
Yeah, and you've probably built a website, some of you at least, that you've seen either no traffic and no sales. I remember this from my early days. I was like, wow, I'll put this thing together, but nothing's happening. Now, that's why I'm so excited to work with Paul Counts, because he's like the traffic master. I've been learning from him. I always had like one little traffic avenue that I focused on, and that was it. And it worked pretty well for a long time, and then it started hiccuping a little bit because the algorithms changed, and you know how Google's always kind of shifting the process and leaving you out in the cold somewhat. So I've been learning from Paul on how to get more traffic. I've always done pretty good with conversions. You know, once I had people on my list, I'm able to convert them pretty well, but it was getting the traffic to make sure that the list grew. And so you've got to make sure that you've got that in processes as well. So basically all these questions of have you, you know, you've most likely connected with several of those. I know that plenty of times in my own business, I've connected with those. And so the final thing to really think about is that you're not alone. You're not alone in feeling like, hey, I don't know where to go from here, or this hadn't worked, or I'm chasing this pipe dream, or I'm trying to follow the latest gimmick, or I'm doing a lot of studying and a lot of research and a lot of planning, but it's just not coming together. You know, I found almost every single person is in that boat. And I did some research recently through a survey of my list. It turns out that the average person on the list had been trying to make money for a year or more, but they weren't following a solid process or a solid system. And it makes all the difference in the world when you do that.
Yeah, and it's really just that time that someone were to step up and give you that real help that you need to build a profitable internet business, and to be there to hold your hand and be there to ask questions if you have questions, answer questions for you, encourage you, keep you moving in the right direction, and most importantly, keep you up to date on some of the latest happenings. Because although there's certain things we want to stay focused on, this business does change a lot, and if you are not kept up to date, you will get left behind very quick. It's one of the reasons myself that I've been able to make it 16 plus years in this business. Same reason Paul Evans has made it for years in this business. You know, combined we have a ton of years. I would say what, 40 plus years maybe combined business experience between the two of us.
I'm
And
obviously not that old, but you are.
yeah. Yes. And you know, and one of the core reasons I've been able to continue and maintain in this business is simply because I've been able to adapt. And so if you are, you know, in a coaching program like this, we're going to help you adapt to the latest changes. It was very fascinating. I've had marketers that if I were to say their name now, many people would recognize them, and they come up to me at an event and they said, "How do you do it?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean? You know, you're so and so, right?" You know, I'm sitting here thinking, "Why are you asking me this question?" And they were literally asking me this question because they said, "Well, you know, it's just so difficult. How do you keep maintaining success? I've seen you've been in the business so long." And the key I told them was, I'm always learning and always adapting, because this business changes. I mean, there's methods that stay the same, but you know, how you recruit JVs, that's going to be way different than it was 5 years ago. You know, some of that stuff does change. And so you do need to be kept up to date on that kind of information.
Yeah. And but the challenge with all of that is that 95% of businesses fail. And those are horrible odds. Now, the truth is that's really an offline number, that 95% of businesses fail. And that's where I came from. I opened my first business at the age of 20. It was a fitness center. I was back in 1900 and, and 90, right around there, back in the 1900s. And, you know, when you're looking at the overhead of a business, of a brick and mortar business, you know, it's crazy, but I found that online, the odds are no better and maybe a little bit worse. You know, part of the reason is that people are trying to do everything, you know, for free, that I've got to do this for free. And what's the best free autoresponder? What's the best free page builder? And there's, you know, it's always this mindset of free, whereas in the offline world, you know that you're going to invest in your business, period. That's just the way it is. But the odds are usually horrible online because we tend to jump around from place to place, from person to person, from idea to idea, from method and model to the next method and model, and never really remaining in one spot and doing things in a very focused way. And so what we want to do is answer the question, how can we help you make money online? And this is one of those topics that I usually kind of stay away from. I've almost always stayed away from, we're going to help you make money online, because I know that each person has a different goal. Some of you want to make a ton, some of you just want to pay the house payment. So we're going to leave that up to you. If you'll leave the process up to us, and we're going to do that in the Impact Income Coaching Club. And this is going to take place every single month, and we're going to give you the details of that and the 4 core elements of success here in just a minute. But what we want to do is make sure that we're going to tell you what we're not doing and what we are doing, so there won't be any question about it at all.
Yeah, and one of the things we're not going to do is just be here to pitch you another product that you don't need, but we're going to give you the training that you do need to succeed. And so, you know, that's the key thing, is it's not about a product, but it's about a process, and it's about a process with the training that you actually need to achieve the success you want.
Absolutely. And we're not going to give you just some of the pieces of the puzzle. We're going to show you how to put all the pieces together. I did some training a while back that really brought this to light. And the truth is that if you bought all of these products that were being released right now, you know, all of these, you know, multi-thousand-dollar products, and you put them all together, you still would not have a business, because not only are they selling different pieces of the pie, they're selling different pieces of different pies. That's why it's always been so difficult. So we promise you, we're not just going to give you some of the pieces of the puzzle. We're going to show you how all the pieces come together.
Yeah, and we also don't want to give you information overload. That's one of the biggest problems people struggle with online. I mean, when we survey people, it's one of their biggest frustration points. And so what we want to do is help you make money quickly and for the long term, because we know that's so essential to your success.
And we're not going to just tell you, hey, build a website and leave it up to you. We're going to show you how to get tons of web traffic. This is really the key piece, because you can build sites all day long, but it doesn't mean that anybody's going to show up there. It's like if you
Yeah.
build a house, you can build your house, but if you never tell your family the address, you're safe. They'll never show up. You've got to put your address out there. We're going to show you how to put your address out there to get web traffic so that you're building your list and you're making those conversions that you want to make.
Yeah, I like to tell people it's not a field of dreams anymore. If you build it, they're not going to come.
Right.
You need to get traffic. And we also don't want to leave you hanging when you need help. We want to be here to answer your questions because that's one of the biggest struggling points that I see is that there's so many times when I was trying this business where I thought, boy, if there was somebody I could just reach out to, I could get going on my way a lot quicker. And if you don't have somebody you can bounce those questions off of, you can feel alone and it can, feel like, oh, I'm never going to get this, and then you might just give up. Now, fortunately for me, I never gave up. I kept pushing through and I did find those people that I could ask questions to. And this right here to me is one of the most important components of the Impact Income Coaching Club is that we're here to answer questions for you.
And I definitely want to hit something that, again, is one of those topics that I'm pretty uncomfortable with. I never really reveal my income numbers. Paul doesn't do that too much as well. But we literally are internet millionaires. And I don't say that lightly, and I don't say it to brag, and I'm not saying it to build us up. I just want you to know that we understand and know exactly what we're doing without tricks, without gimmicks, without anything that can't be duplicated. You don't have to have some huge back office team. Paul and I do everything ourselves. We don't have this big team working with us. We've got a handful of promotional partners that we call on from time to time, but everything we do, from these slides to the websites to our coaching, we do all of it. That way you're not going to have any surprises except for good ones. And we're not outsourcing this coaching program. This is one of the things that just burns us up. There are a lot of, quote, coaching programs out there where the one you signed up with isn't the one even doing the coaching. We do all of the coaching. We share everything from our live businesses, not hypothetical, not possibilities, but things that we actually do. And that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I just actually met somebody that spends $75,000 for a coaching program per year, and let that sink in.
Crazy.
And they don't actually meet with the main person they signed up under. They meet with coaches, and it's fascinating. But that's just one example of many. There's many programs that'll charge you $10,000, $25,000. I've seen them sold from stage. You come to find out it was all outsourced. And so, our question here is, would you rather learn from someone who has merely been trained to be a coach, or someone who has actually done what you want to do, understands the business inside and out, and personally cares about seeing you succeed? And I think most of you would answer B to that one, because you want to learn straight, what's that phrase, straight from the horse's mouth, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So there's a core 4 for success. This is what we've seen over and over again in our business and the businesses of others who are on a similar success path. And that means that you're probably going to be doing most of the business work yourself. You're going to be operating your own website. You're not going to have this huge team behind you. You don't have a fortune to spend on buying traffic. That this is a solid, everyday, day in, day out business that you're proud of, that you can't wait to tell other people about. And the way that these things are built is basically in 4 key areas. Number 1 is actually coaching. Nobody that I know that's been successful online has just gone out and followed some program and it just worked like magic. Every single one had to have a process in place with a coach who directed them, showed them the next way to go, showed them what to do, how to do it, and they were able to bounce off the questions, they were able to bounce off ideas, they were able to get critiques. Because I think most of us have seen that if we just follow training blindly without it being massaged and without it being directed, especially for us, toward the path that we're following, toward the business that we want to create, then we found that we're not successful. But when somebody gets it, gets us, gets our process, it makes all the difference in the world. Like my two boys are totally different. One is, I would say, very traditional minded, and another is very creative minded. In fact, he's on his way home for Christmas right now. He lives about an hour and a half away, and he works in the graphic arts. Well, early in life, we felt like he was really struggling in school and he was not going to be real successful because he just didn't really seem to connect with what was going on. And one day I was doing some work on on PowerPoint and in Photoshop, and he said, "Dad, you ought to do this." He was like in elementary school, and I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, you need to move this here, and then you need to make this way." He said, "I don't know how to do it in the program, but that's what I see." And so I said, "Sam, you know what? At school, you need to stop taking notes and you need to start drawing what you hear the teacher say." And when he started doing that, I don't know that he ever made another B, because now he was having the process of learning aligned with the way that he learned. So what did I basically do accidentally? I coached him. If I'd said, "Listen, Sam, everybody takes notes, everybody studies, everybody does it this way, and you're going to do it too," he wouldn't have been successful. But when I was able to understand who Sam is and direct him on the path that matches his makeup, wow, it totally shifted. That's what coaching does. And that's what we want to do for you in Impact Income, is that you end up getting direction that's going to help you specifically, instead of you just getting this rote program that you go out and try to follow blindly and hope something works. And I think, Paul, you've seen the same thing in your life, that coaching is a key component to success.
It really is. It truly is. And, I can look back to, just having a mentor. I mean, for example, I was fortunate enough to be sitting, I like to say it's a total God thing. I was flying somewhere unrelated to business, and I'm sitting next to Frank Souza, who many of you know started Traffic Geyser. And I was getting started in this business at that point, so I knew who he was. I knew he was going down to speak at a Mark Hendricks event. I knew who Mark Hendricks was, a great person, and I knew who he was. And so I recognized these people. Well, Frank, after this flight, really encouraged me and coached me. He's like, "You got to go to your first live event." Well, was at that first live event, I met, one of my business partners, Jeff Wellman, we're still connected. We still do some stuff together years later, and that really was a big shift in my business, was him coaching me on that one simple flight, telling me where to go and what I needed to do. And that's just one example of many. But if you have a coach in your life, they can set you on a path. And I remember coaching somebody recently where, I was able to just sit down with the call with them. And it was a short 15-20 minute call, and I get this amazing testimonial back about how, literally 15-20 minutes transformed his life. And I gave him similar advice actually to what Frank gave me, and that was get out to this live event. Well, he went out to this live event. I told him what he needed to do, and he was there. Makes these connections. Next thing I know, he's selling products off the shelves of Whole Foods markets. I mean, it's just amazing that just one little tip can actually transform somebody's life. And that's the power of coaching, and that's what we want to offer you guys.
Love that. Great story. Number two is that you got to have content. And by content, we don't simply mean the content that you produce, but the content that we give you. Now, the content here, though, is within context. It's not going to be just general, but you're able to ask your questions, the coaching component, and we bring context to the content, so that when we're doing a training on traffic, we can help align that to exactly where you are. And when we're doing training on email marketing, we can help you shape your email. One of the things we're going to be doing in January, and you'll see this in just a second, is that our first training is called TLC. Part of that is going to be a review of your opt-in page. Think about the number of opt-in pages you've either tried to build or you put up and you just didn't know it was any good. Well, part of the content and the context that we provide is to be able to go in, take a look at it, and then be able to shape it in a way that is valuable and helpful for you to be able to take that next step. Number three is community, so that you're not hanging out alone. One of the things that we want to be able to provide is that in our private Facebook group, we'll be in there every single day. So it's not like, oh, you join this group and the owners aren't even there. We'll be there. You ask questions in there. You get feedback in there. And I've found that being part of a community group really helps me as well personally, the groups that I'm part of, because it's a great way to brainstorm, it's a great way to get feedback, and it's a great way to learn when other people are sharing their ideas and you go, wow, I've never thought of that. In fact, just yesterday, I saw this little tip, probably old news to Paul Counts, but I thought this was pretty cool. Part of this community that said, hey, on your next email, don't send simply to the unopens. You know, a lot of us in our next email will send to the ones who weren't opened. He said, send to the non-clicks, which means that you'll still mail again the people who happen to open it, but anybody who did not click the link you wanted them to click in the email, they're the ones that are going to get that next email. Well, I wouldn't have learned that if I wasn't part of a community, right? So your community opens up the doors to possibility. Now, Paul, what are some ways that the community have helped you in your business or made an impact?
Yeah, communities, really been important because there's a part of a few groups where if I'm having an issue with maybe it's a Facebook ads issue or maybe a problem with JVZoo or a question I have at ClickBank, I just simply post a question and next thing you know, another peer, another person, that's already gone through that is there with an answer right away. And it helps get you on the right track. Sometimes they'll share a tip that you never knew was possible. Oftentimes, though, for me, community, it just involves those relationships you create. I'm a part of a joint venture, community with some other PLR guys, and that's generated hundreds of thousands of revenue for my business over the years, is just by being connected with the small community of like-minded people. And so that's what you get inside the Impact Income Coaching Club is a group, a community of like-minded people. We're here to help push you forward. And when you're part of a group of like-minded, motivated, successful people, amazing things begin to happen. And sometimes that community is going to be more powerful than even the coaching because you guys are there cheering each other on, helping each other get through it and making each other be successful.
You know, you made a huge point just then about the relationships built in the community and how that actually brings income. Right before I got on the call today, one of my closest friends, Carrie Wilkerson, sent me a link to something that's going live on Entrepreneur today. And I met her about 8 years ago, and that relationship that was formed in a community, in a mastermind group, it's brought a minimum of $1 million, probably far in excess of that, all because of community. You never know, even in a Facebook group, you never know who you're going to meet, how that's going to impact your life, and the types of deals that might come out of it, and how you might end up having a business partner for life or having a promotional partner for life. If it wasn't for Paul Counts and I being part of the same community, we wouldn't have seen each other and partnered on Impact Income. That wouldn't have happened. It's not like that all these people out here that you see that have these partnerships all just happen to know each other. No, they had to meet somewhere and it had to begin somewhere. And usually it began, as a couple of unknowns and nobodies that decided to do something together and impact the world in a very positive way. And then number 4, the 4 keys to success is just consistency, day in and day out. You've got to get it done. Now, let me take a quick little sidebar for a thought here. Guys, we've got to be focused. We have to get after it. And we've got to do the work. We have got to stop looking around for all these other answers and hoping something works. What works is work. Day in, day out, consistent. Now, it doesn't mean that you've got to kill yourself with, 80 hours a week. Once you have the basics down, you can streamline your business and work as much or as little as you want to. But it doesn't happen without consistency. The business is not going to happen when you keep searching for something else and you keep trying something else. That's inconsistency. Consistency means I've settled on this thing that I want to accomplish, and every single day I'm going to do it. I can guarantee you Paul Counts and I will hold you to it because that's what we love and that's what we live. Paul, you know, even before we got on here, we talked a little bit about consistency, and you had some good thoughts on that. Why don't you share those with us?
Yeah, definitely. I like to say consistency counts. I just had to throw that in. But consistency is always branding, right? So consistency is so important, though. The reality is, one of the biggest struggles I see with people is they get, they'll come to me and they'll say, "Well, I followed your system, but it didn't work." And I say, "Well, can you show me what you did?" "Well, I wrote one blog post out there and I'm not getting all the traffic I wanted, or I did a video like you said to do, but I'm not getting much traffic." Well, then my answer to that is simply, well, have you done 10 videos? Have you done 20 videos targeting different keyword phrases? Have you done, 5 different pieces of content that you can share out there on social media websites? Have you ran 5 different variations of your Facebook ad? Have you run 6 variations of your Google ad? Those types of things, because one of the biggest issues people have is they don't stay consistent. And
Mm.
so they might do one article, one video, one blog post, one of this, one of that. There's no consistency with their business. And so we're here to help you stay focused and consistent on what's going to work for you. It's the same thing when I go to recruit joint venture partners. It's no good for my business if I recruit one person, right? If I recruit one joint venture partner and say, well, I did my recruitment, I'm done for the day, that's not consistent. You got to reach out to 500 joint venture partners, 200 joint venture partners, in hopes that maybe a couple of them will show up. And so, this is another big sticking point I see, is sending an email to an audience. I'll have people that say, well, I have an email list, and my first question is, well, do you mail them? Well, yeah, I mail them once a month. And I say, well, they're going to forget who you are, and then because they don't want to be consistent about the mailing part. And so there's just so many facets to this business, whereas, the number one reason you're going to achieve success or not is based on how consistent you're going to be in your business. And so we're here to help you stay consistent. It's such an important element to your success.
Melanie said, I want Counts as a last name. I may
It's
change my
awesome.
name too. That'd be a little confusing, but that is a great brand. Coaching counts, content counts, community counts, and consistency counts. Real quick, guys, I want to run down this list and I'm going to show you how we fulfill it in Impact Income Coaching Club. Number one is, do you have a coach? These are just yes or no questions. Do you have a coach? You either do or you don't. Do you have somebody you can contact right now to answer your business questions? That's a yes or a no. You can write these down yourself. So that's number one. Number two, do you have content to go to that you know will help you build your online business? That's a yes or that's a no. Number three, do you or are you part of a community led by an individual or individuals you know are making money the same way you want to? Now, I'm not asking you if you're part of a community of people who want to make money. You're part of a community led by someone who is making money and has the type of lifestyle that you desire. And one of the challenges today is that you can go out and join 100 different Facebook communities, but you can also be part of it with other people who've not accomplished what you want to accomplish. So you've got to make sure that you're following with someone or someones who have actually been there. And then number four is consistency. Day in, day out, do you have the accountability? Day in and day out, are you getting the work done? Do you need someone to kind of help you with that a little bit? Because I can tell you that Paul and I will. So here are the four components. This is really content, but I'm calling it the training club. At the first of every month, or right around the first, we're going to host the training club. And it's going to be something very specific, very targeted to help you grow your online business. The first one is January the 2nd, and it's called TLC. This is the simple success formula. This is exactly what Paul and I do, and we're going to reveal that to you. So that is the coaching club. Now, during these live events, you'll be able to ask questions as well, get feedback on the training even as we're doing it. That's $197 value. Then there's the coaching club. Or this is going to happen in two ways. One, you can ask questions there in the live Facebook group, and you can also ask questions on the 15th of the month, or plus or minus a day depending on what that day falls on. And this is where it's just an open-ended Q&A call. You can ask questions in the Facebook group, or you can come on the coaching club, because you might need some help that requires some video. We might need to go online and do some research live. All of that will be recorded, and all the recordings will be available to you. So that's $197 value. The community itself is $197 value a month. But here's the way that I frame things, is that if you ask a question that's been haunting you for a year, you ask that question in the community, and you get an answer in the next 10 minutes or the next hour, you have just compressed a year of doubt and worry and frustration and solved it in 10 minutes or an hour. I'd say that's at least worth $197 a month. And then the consistency, another $197 a month value. This last week I was doing some training, and one of the people in the training was like, well, I hadn't got my opt-in page up, and I hadn't shot my video yet, and I don't know when I'm going to do it. I said, I know when you're going to do it. You're going to do it by Monday. This was last Thursday. Guess what? Today's Tuesday. This stuff is done. Now, she'd been trying to do it for months, but we put a deadline on it. I told her exactly what she needed to do, exactly how to do it. That's a coaching standpoint. She needed a video. I made that for her. That's a content standpoint. And then she produced it. That's a consistency standpoint. So it gets done. We will put timelines, deadlines on you to make sure that you get your work done. And then all of the archived content, coaching sessions, all of that is going to be available from this point on. This is the very beginning of the Impact Income Coaching Club, but certainly it's worth $197 a month times however number of sessions there are for it to be the total value. But it's not going to be $985. Don't worry. This is, I think, if anything, this number you're about to see is going to be way less than you expect. But $985 is not yet. It's going to only be $17 today to get started. $17 today to get started. That's for the first month, and then it's $97 a month to remain a member. Now we got some fast action bonuses. Paul Counts, why don't you take us through these bonuses?
Yeah, these bonuses are loaded with value. First one's Nichology. It's $5,000 value, and that is loaded with all the training you're going to need when you need it. So we're talking your copywriting training, your how to run a successful, private label rights material, niche content that you can use in your own business. All the material you need as far as understanding how to use private label rights is covered inside Nichology. That is a treasure trove of information. And before Paul Evans and I were even linked up, I was a member of Nichology because it's that valuable and there's that much content in there. We're talking content with white label rights that you can rebrand. The products in the rough there are just absolutely fantastic for creating a structure and outline for a great information product in every niche market imaginable. So you definitely do not want to miss out on the value that's waiting you inside Nichology. Second one is my info product success training. This is a course that I sell for $1,000, and so you're going to get this as a bonus. And this is my complete step-by-step course teaching you from start to finish how to launch an information product business. And I've sold, as Paul Evans mentioned, we've sold millions of dollars worth of information products. So these methods are tested, these methods are true, and they work consistently well. And then finally, we're also going to offer you 10 membership websites with resale rights that you guys will get access to inside the Impact Income Coaching Club. So you're getting a huge amount of value here, a tremendous amount of value. I mean, that adds another $6,000 for just signing up right now. And these are 10 membership sites you can use to build your list. You can use to generate commissions on autopilot. It's a fantastic amount of value.
Man, I love that. And we're going to make it super simple. ImpactIncome.com/go. I mean, that's basically it. You're going to get the training every month, the coaching every month, the access to the Facebook group. Everything's going to be loaded in there, the files. In fact, right now when you join, you'll join the Facebook group and you'll click the files, you'll get the bonuses, and you'll go ahead and register for January the 2nd and for January the 15th for next month's elements. So you're going to see all of that in there already loaded, already waiting for you. All you got to do is go to impactincome.com/go with your 17 bucks. Just give it a shot for a month for 17 bucks. You know, it's super easy to do. Get involved, find out, push yourself, find out how much you can accomplish in 1 month. I guarantee you we can do more in a month than you've done in the last year. We can get you focused, we can get you on fire, we can make sure you're doing only the things you need to do, and we will make sure that we stay away from anything that is not part of the process that you need to be following.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, there's so much value here that you guys are getting. And you know, Melanie, one of our students from Impact Income, who's going to be joining us in Impact Income Club because she's, you know, transitioning over, she said, do you want a testimonial? Of course, that we would love that, Melanie. She just shared another great success story. She said she did a tweak on a client's website, took them to page 5 for a highly competitive keyword in their industry, 73.8 million results, and got to spot 57 within 3 hours. And she's done a fantastic job with several of their organic keywords to #1. And you know, a lot of that's from being a part of a community, and she's doing some amazing things. She's also working on a book or a ebook that she's ready to launch out there, and it's fantastic. It's been fun watching her process go. So.
Well,
Yeah,
and
and Deb,
let me hit something real quick there, Paul. You know, the thing is, though, Melanie did the work. She got the content, she got the coaching, and then she went and took action. She didn't keep searching for the next thing. She applied it, and it not only impacted her business, it's impacting her client's business, which is just going to bring her even more money.
yeah, really it is. And you know, if the clients are happy, you know, you're going to be happy as well. And that's the key thing.
I love
Um,
that.
I love what Deborah said. She said, "Sounds great. Will you be able to help me focus on which business will be best for me?" And definitely, that's really kind of one of the cores of this program is to be there to help you and look at what are your assets, what are your skill levels, what are your experience levels, and you can say on the Q&A calls, hey, this is what the business model I'm looking at. You know, what kind of questions do you have for me?
Yeah, and you know, one of the big keys that Paul and I both teach over and over again is focusing on who you are, Deborah, and being able to say, this is exactly what I need to do. Here's what we're not going to do. Now, we do want to be clear about this. We're not going to say, here's a business model to go follow. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your skill set is. It doesn't matter what you enjoy. We're just going to give you something and tell you to go and do it, whether you like it or not, because it makes money. Let me tell you what that is. That's a job. People get jobs doing stuff they hate for an income, right? So sometimes when we think about an online business, we think, well, I just want to do something that makes money. Well, that's what a job's for. A job is just to do something that makes money. But if you want to do something that makes money and gives you freedom, makes money and creates a certain lifestyle, or makes money and gives you an outlet for this thing in your heart that you want to do, or this message that you want to share, or this information product that you want to create, well, that's totally different. So we're not going to help you get a job, but we are going to help you design the business that you love, that will create the impact and the income that you love as well, if you're willing to put the effort in. Chris says, are we locked into a certain number of months? No, Chris, you're not locked in to a certain number of months. And you said we offered a coaching program that was 2,000 or 3,000 not long ago. Is this the same thing or something different? This is totally different, Chris. They were part of Impact Income, which is an 8-week program and coaching that's one-to-one, and this is all done online. But great, great question. Let's
And
see. Yeah, go
Melanie,
ahead.
she said, you were the guys that had me focus one direction instead of squandering my time searching. And what I realized is that the book was the direction to go so that I can use it as a springboard to a membership site and into authority status that being an author allows. That's awesome. And she went on to say, without the Pauls, I'd still be struggling with what I should do first. Now it's just finding the time before the day job and finishing up clients' deliverables so that I can finish the book. So that's awesome. And that's kind of the power of this coaching program and opportunity.
Yeah, I love that. Jane asked, is this the step beyond your AIM class? So that's another program that I held in the past. I would say that it is. I think that this is a great next step after AIM because it gives you that community, which we didn't do. And you can also bring that information that you learned there into the community, ask questions about it as well, so that we can just continue the process and continue the focus. Joan asked, the payment of 97 is due on January 20th. That's correct. So just 17 today. ImpactIncome.com/go.
Yep.
Let's see if there's any other questions. Go ahead and type those in now.
Joanne, yes, that next payment will come out 30 days from now. So it's 30 days.
Let's see, Benicia says, Impact Income has helped me gain more focus, more momentum than I've had in the past 6 years of my business combined. And that's from Benicia, who is part of Impact Income, and she's already in the Facebook group. We just opened that up today, guys. So when you get over there, don't go, wait a minute, there's not a million people in here. This is brand new. And Benicia, who's already had great success with us, is in there as well, and I love that. More focus, more momentum than I've had in the past 6 years of my business combined. Thank you so much, Benicia. I love it. ImpactIncome.com/go. All right, Melanie. Melanie says, since I'm at my day job, unless you need anything else, I'm going to head off with love, health, and prosperity for you and your families for the holiday season and the year beyond. Thank you, Melanie. She's part of the group as well, and she is there in the community. That's the great thing is like just mentioning Melanie and Benicia so far on here that are already part of the club. Guys, you're getting to be around some high-quality people who are focused, who are getting work done. Not a bunch of folks who just sit in a forum or sit in a community all day and just talk and just wish. We've got workers, and I love that. Kurt says, can we join tomorrow? Yes, Kurt, you can join tomorrow. But memorize ImpactIncome.com/go. Write it down. Any other questions, guys? Remember that you're going to get the training at the first of every month. Of course, that will be cataloged. You'll get the Q&A at mid-month. That will be cataloged. You've got 3 bonuses waiting on you right now. So those are always available as long as you're a member. And we will be dropping like surprise goodies in there every month. It'll depend on what the conversation is about at the time, what we tend to put in there. Things that we find interesting, things, the marketing ideas and concepts and tools that we see that we feel like, wow, this is pretty cool. We post those in there. So you're not just coming and learning some kind of rote system. You're getting to see exactly what we do, how we do it, why we do it. We bring live examples. We talk through processes that we're even going through. And all of this is going to relate to you regardless of the business model that you're following or that you end up following, because we're able to tie it all in specifically to you. Chris says, are there back issues already? No, Chris, there are no back issues yet. Our first training is January the 2nd. This is a charter membership. Chris says, do you help with Facebook ads and funnel creation? Yes, we do.
Yes, no doubt. Beautiful.
Love that. Yeah, we can drop those in there here pretty soon, Paul Counts. That might be a good February release.
Yeah, we could do that. We already have, actually, I have a product called Your First Funnel we could drop in there, and then we have the Facebook ads training. So yeah, perfect.
Yeah, we've got that. So good.
Yeah, and did we answer Joan? She wanted to know if the bonuses are an upsell. Those are actually part of this, part of signing up for this program.
They are not an upsell.
Yep, no upsells. There is not an upsell. You guys will be taken straight to a download page, which will give you the private link to the closed Facebook group, and we will get you guys into the group, and we'll start the bonuses and the training right there.
Yep.
Definitely.
Awesome. John said thank you.
Yeah, love it. Jane says she really needs to understand pixels. Okay, awesome. That's great. Welcome to Dieter. Congrats on joining the group. I see quite a few people jumping in, so
Good,
welcome.
good, good.
Um, let's see, jumping for joy in her chair right now. Love to hear that, Joan.
That's Joan. I love
Um,
that.
will you help with marketing on Instagram and Snapchat? Definitely, Kurt. I try to stay up on some of those latest trends, and we can definitely always point you in the proper direction as well for certain programs.
Yeah, Paul Counts will help you with that. And I've never even done a Snapchat. You don't want me involved, but Paul Counts is the pro in all those kind of things. Dana says, can you elaborate on the number of people you expect to have in the group? How tailorized is the training if we have an existing business? Our initial goal for the group is around 50. We're going to work on that over the next month or so, and then just grow it from there. What we want to do is be able to see how interactive everybody is, how many people ask questions. We can tell you from experience that if we have 100 people in the group, about 10 people will regularly ask questions. It's just a fact. Not say anything about that other than that's just what folks do. And now as far as us tracking you down, I'm not going to track you down and say, Dana, what's your question? We'll just always be available. But how tailorized is the training if we have an existing online business? Well, most of the training is going to be fundamental training, and then what we do is dive deep into your business. So for example, if we're doing opt-in training or we're doing email marketing training, we can give you the process on that and all of the principles behind that. And when I say principles, a lot of times this has to do with the idea and the concept and the why behind what we're doing. Now then, you may take that and go, okay, I understand the why and I can apply it to my business. Or you may go, you know what, I'm in the specialized niche and I noticed that you said do X, but I'm not sure how that works for me. Then yes, we tailor that to you, that answer specifically for you, to be able to take that concept and apply it directly to where you are in business.
Yep, definitely. And I want to welcome Joan. You joined the group. We're so excited to have you there. So, yeah, very happy. And you answered Dana just now, so I love it.
Yeah, Deborah, thank you for joining as well. I just got you in the Facebook group. Dieter, you're in the Facebook group. I just approved you as well. Awesome.
All right. Yeah, we got quite a few new members, people still flying in. So it's going to be a full group. We're really excited, but in a good way. It's going to be, like Paul Evans was saying, those that are the action takers, you guys are still sitting on this webinar. We've seen some, quite a few new members, and it's really exciting.
Love it, love it. And we'll end up sending this replay out as well to you guys so that you can look at it again, even though I think the offer is pretty straightforward. And you should be able to memorize the URL, impactincome.com/go, if you're sitting on the fence. $17 to begin with, then $97 a month. That's going to be as inexpensive as you'll find this level of training / coaching and unforeseen and unadvertised bonuses that'll be pretty cool as well coming your way each and every month. Deborah, not necessarily. Deborah says, so are the trainings on Mondays? Not necessarily. The first one is because it's January 2nd is on a Monday, but the next month, let's say in March that the first is on a Thursday, we may do it on a Thursday. So that's going to switch each month most likely.
Yeah, and Chris had a good question. Can I pay via PayPal? Definitely. That's actually the payment method of choice right now. So you can definitely use PayPal and join the club. So.
Yeah, Kurt, he says, I have difficulty when I buy a PLR product uploading the product to sell it because of the multiple files that have to be dealt with. Can you help me with this? Absolutely, we can. No problem at all. Let's see. All right, guys. Anything else on here that you're seeing, Paul Counts?
It's all I'm seeing. Deborah, so excited. Can't wait. So excited to have you join the group.
Good,
Love it.
good. Good. All right, guys, we're going to close it down. ImpactIncome.com/go. $17. Go now. You get the training each month. You get the Q&A each month. You get the ongoing community every single day and consistency from us so that when you say, hey, I need to know how to do this, we show you how to do it, and then you go and do it. We put a timeline on it and make sure that you are focused, you're on fire, and you're getting your work done. Joan says, were you guys really in Vietnam? My dependent is non-vet, hoping he will be interested too. Actually, Paul Counts was.
Yeah.
I wasn't, but Paul Counts was there about 10 days or 14 days.
Yeah, it was. I was there about 14 days, did a bunch of training there, and actually going to be doing quite a bit more in the future, it sounds like. So,
love it. ImpactIncome.com/go. Impact Income. Make more so you can give more so you can live more. Be blessed, guys.